Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities and our Running Your Business Day-to-Day segment. As a boss, conflict resolution will be a critical skill to help ease issues that can prevent a peaceful workplace. Richard Burke works for JAMS Pathways, which offers dispute resolution to companies.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day-to-day.
Time to meet a new friend and contributor here on Business Equity and Opportunities. Richard Burke is kind enough to talk to us about a kind of a tough topic, but a crucially important one, particularly for somebody who may be the boss in a small business. Richard, thanks for being with us. Conflict resolution's the issue. Kind of get our viewers up to speed as to how you've become an expert in this.
Well, gosh, Scott, I've been resolving conflict as the youngest child in my family pretty much my whole life. But since I graduated law school close to 40 years ago, I've spent 4 years as an assistant district attorney, 25 years as an academic professor teaching conflict resolution and consulting, and now almost 9 years at the company that I work for. And we are the largest private dispute resolution service provider in the world. And we get involved in every kind of conflict, including those that should never get into litigation. And if you want to learn more about that, it's the JAMS Pathways initiative under jamspathways.com. So there's a lot there.
Well, like you said, hopefully we can head some of that off. I guess in general, do we see more workplace conflict, or does it just feel that way?
Well, a little bit of both. I checked some statistics, and so the Bureau of Labor Management statistics say that conflict is actually, at least violence in the workplace, is sharply down from the mid-90s. But when I talk to our mediators and arbitrators across the country at our 29 offices, they say that in the employment world, there's a lot more incivility and rudeness. So I do think that people are having a more stressful time in the workplace.
What are some of the common, then, ways we see that actually play out in the workplace?
Well, people feel like they're not being treated fairly, and they say things that maybe, aren't so super sensitive. They might, because of, the nature of remote and hybrid work, say something on a Zoom or put something in a chat, and there really isn't a chance to debrief that gracefully over, the coffee pot. And so, relationships deteriorate and people start to quiet quit, or maybe worse.
We also are at this point in the year where we get the get-togethers, the holiday parties, things like that, maybe the more traditional face-to-face settings. I suppose on the one hand, that could be a good place to work on those relationships, although it also seems possibly to be the very kind of place where things come to a head. What are your thoughts as we head into the Christmas party season?
Well, forced socializing is a lot of pressure for people. And, not everybody is as adept as they'd like to be at mixing business and pleasure. So for some person, they just watched a great Netflix comedy special and they tell a joke, and somebody else finds that dramatically offensive. So I think people need to be on their guard. If you're a leader, you want to keep people busy, you want to minimize alcohol use, or maybe eliminate it if possible, if that's graceful. And I think you want to keep your holiday party relatively short. If people want to socialize separately, they can use that as an opportunity to go to a restaurant or someplace afterwards.
Let's dive a little more deeply into that idea of leadership, because our viewers are the very people who are deciding whether they're ready to jump into the business ownership world, or maybe they're in it right now and they're still growing and learning. Are there strategies to prevent these sorts of things from boiling up in the workplace? Does it start with keeping a keen eye before anything ever starts? Does it ever really stop this task of making sure people get along?
Well, I think that leaders can play a key role in dampening conflict in their office. They're clearly focal and they need to walk their talk. So probably the most important thing I would say to a leader is get trained to manage people. Get some training in difficult conversations, mediation and facilitation skills. Learn about people who maybe deviate from neurotypical. We call that different kinds of minds. It's really not common sense. I've done a lot of work in the academic world, and you talk to leaders in, say, higher ed, and you say, you probably have a PhD, and it's probably not in conflict resolution. I taught for 25 years at a law school, and I can tell you, I still have a huge reading list. So it's not common sense. And if you're a leader, you need to, know what you're talking about in order to lead. So get trained. That's a big one.
That's an important phrase to make sure everybody heard correctly. It's not common sense. So it may be actually requiring some extra training.
And leaders often reach into the wrong bucket. I know a person who's a head of surgery who came out of the military, and when you're operating on somebody and you say, I want the number 2 scalpel, you don't want somebody to question you. And so, it's a very top-down leadership style. But when you're not in the operatory and you're dealing with people, that same kind of leadership style that's worked for you and gotten you to where you want to be may not necessarily work in a different environment. And so people need to know, don't necessarily lean on your only strength. Develop your portfolio a little bit more.
And you even said at the top of this that the idea is to avoid litigation, but as a boss, I suppose you have to be mindful of the fact that just because 2 people have a conflict, that doesn't leave you out of the equation if it either starts or brews up or ends up spilling over in your workplace. There's a responsibility there.
Absolutely, there is. And so I would say, in addition to getting trained, here are a couple of other tips when conflict is happening right in front of you. One is replace judgment with curiosity. That's a big one. I think that there are 4 magic words that can resolve an awful lot of conflict, and probably as a reporter, these words really well, where somebody says something, say more about that. That's a big one, right? And so instead of reacting, ask another question. Sort of a corollary to that is, when you think somebody's done speaking, count to 10. Take a breath before reacting. People will usually fill that silence in with important information, and you'll notice things. You'll notice changes in their behavior. You'll notice maybe changes in facial expression, and you don't need to worry about forgetting what you're going to say, because if it was important enough, you're going to remember that. Say what feels right after your 10 count, and it may be different than your first initial reaction. And I would say one other important thing for leaders is to remember, not all conflict is bad. There's task conflict where people are arguing, different perspectives on how to get the job done. And then there's relationship conflict, which really doesn't necessarily belong at work. And so it's important for leaders to keep everybody focused on why they're there. If the focus is on the mission, conflict around the mission and how to get it done is good. Conflict that is, feels like relationship conflict, like if I raise an idea and you critique my idea, if we're trying to get the job done, that's great. If I feel like you were personally attacking me in the wrong way, that could be a problem. And so leaders need to, we like to say, separate the people from the problem.
Richard Burke, this has been fascinating. Notes for all to take, whether they're in that leadership position or may soon take one. We really appreciate the expertise today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I hope that you have a wonderful and conflict-free holiday season. And I'll just say one last thing for leaders generally. Know when you're in over your head. I don't do my own taxes. I hire an expert. So once in a while, if conflict gets a little bit too big for you in the office, there are professionals like me all over the country who have dedicated their lives just to helping out people who are suffering from conflict.
For more information about JAMS Pathways and conflict resolution, head to beoshow.com. QR code with your phone hooks you up right away.